What is the process that I need to execute to mathematically be the most successful salesperson in history with your company? What is that process? What does it look like? I want the process, and I'm going to start practicing. How you can be the greatest salesperson on the planet.
Welcome to the Rethink Sales Show. My name is Derek Kelly. I am joined by Jim Shorkey. And Jim, one of our most viewed videos was a video you did about how to launch a successful sales career in 48 hours. So I was talking to our friend Aaron Watson. I said, how do we dial up the crank on Jim and make this even more difficult? He said, ask Jim, how would you launch a sales career if you had 1 hour?
What I would do is I would find a process that is proven to be successful. And this is the challenge. We got to find somebody who knows a whole lot more than we know, who has done what we want to do successfully, and have a conversation. Within the realm of Rethink You 2.0, we call that seek expert counsel. Trial and error, which a lot of people do, is a recipe for disaster. So we don't want to do trial and error. We want to do seek expert counsel. So when I find this expert counsel, I would want to know their process, his process, her process, whatever it is. And I want to see some results so they can show me that they are number one here or whatever. They can show me how they've improved because of the process, whatever. So I want to get that process in my hand. And I've only got 1 hour, did you say? I'm going to study that process like a nut in that 1 hour. And I want to go over it again and again and again. I want to role play on it. I want to do the very best I can to get this process down and sort in my cells per se. And then what I would do is I would take the process and I would fold it up and put it in my pocket. Because when you're in the process of selling, there's going to be little gaps, whether it's in our case of the car business, we're going to go get a refreshment for the client. When I go get that refreshment, I'm going to look at my process. When I go get the keys for a certain car, I'm going to look at that process. When I go get the car, I'm going to look at that process. I'm going to keep doing this for beyond the hour, right? And I'm going to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. When the day's over, I'm going to study the process again. That night, I'm going to study the process before I go to bed. That next morning when I get up, I'm going to study the process again. When I go to in our case, the dealership, wherever the place of business is, I'm going to practice that process in the morning before the business even opens. I'll probably show up a little early, just study and practice and find somebody who knows the process better than I do, and let's role play on the process. So it's really hard to do within an hour, but that's how I would start it. Mm-hmm. That's where I would start. And then I would keep doing it. And I would get this process to where you can hear me talk about our process at the Jim Shorkey Family Auto Group. I know it so well. I don't have any notes in front of me. I have no information to share, but I can tell you the process exactly from point A to point Z. And I can tell you the process really should be about growing the value of my offering. As I grow the value of my offering in the client's mind, then I'm going to be more attractive to them, and they're going to want to buy my product. Mathematically speaking, much better chance of them buying my product. The better job I do of creating value, that's how I'm going to do it. And in that said, that first time out, I may not do too good in the process, so maybe the value's not there, and I have a no sell. I study, and then I have another client, and I'm going to do the same thing. I've got the notes. Every time there's a break, I look at it. Over time of doing that and studying, I will improve the process. And I was thinking about this. It's funny you would bring this up in that fashion, because I've got an idea that I want to share with the team, the Results from Thinking team that's viewing this today. I weigh myself every morning. I have a body composition scale, and I weigh myself. And so basically, since my surgery, stroke, the whole thing, I've been weighing in at 149, which according to the math, I'm a mathematical guy, according to the math, that's too low. And so within my Garmin watch right here and the app on the phone, it gives me a goal. It gives me a goal. I'm not setting the goal. It's giving me the goal. The goal was 160. And so I'm working very hard on increasing my calorie count based on expert counsel, a lot of protein. I'm working very hard on increasing my protein content, which right here, this is a protein shake. And so I've already done one of these today. And ironically, at 160, there's your chronological age, which I'm 68 years old. And then there's your metabolic age, which this being too light is affecting my metabolic age. And it's a fact. Now I'm still lower than what I'm supposed to be. I believe it's like 155.5, but they said by gaining weight, and two, by working out more heart rate high type stuff, like more vigorous exercise, that's how I'm going to improve that inner age, so to speak. It's called fitness age. And I'm doing very well. But there's an example of a goal, okay, 160. That's the number. I'm not making this up. I can prove it. I can show you my phone. 160 is the goal. They set the goal for me. So I'm going to work hard on hitting that goal, not by eating ice cream, by doing protein and very healthy foods in general, but really focusing on the protein because that's going to build muscle and that's going to help in a lot of different ways with the other things that I'm doing. So do you see what I'm saying? So again, back to the goal of 1 hour, I'm going to work very hard on the fundamental basic process of what it takes to be a successful salesman. Relative to my weight in that 1 hour, I could probably down 2 protein shakes. That's a start. That's the inch.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So what can you do within that 1 hour? Can you become the best salesman in the world in 1 hour? No, you can't. You really can't. Respectfully, Aaron, you can't. But you can start and you can move in an inch. And then the next hour, you move in another inch. And the next hour, and now we got 24 hours, 8 of which are going to be hopefully sleeping. So I've got 16 hours to move in an inch every hour, which is 16 inches. And I'll tell you what, by the end of a week, I'll be pretty decent, but I still won't be where I want to be. It's going to take probably days, weeks, months. I would say probably to really get to where this is really ingrained in my cells, probably a couple months. But the bottom line is the first step is the first step.
Yep.
Let's take it. Let's take it today. And maybe in that first hour, we can do 2 steps. We might. And maybe in the next hour, we can do 3 steps. We'll keep working at it, keep working at it, keep working at it. And Napoleon Hill gives us that advice in a great book, Think and Grow Rich. He tells you wherever you're at, start now. So in other words, you're studying expert counsel, and expert counsel so far has given you 3 disciplines, 3 to-dos. Do those right now. That's what Napoleon Hill's telling us. I've read that book 163 times, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I remember that very distinctly. Mr. Hamilton gave me a list of 10. Can I do all 10 in the next hour? No, I can't. But can I do 1? Yeah. Check
Right.
mark.
Yeah, that's so good because then you can say, okay, in this hour, I really learned these 3 things and I'm going to execute 100% or as close to 100% as possible on these
Absolutely.
3.
Excellent.
Maybe in a week or 2 weeks or 2 months, I might add another 3 or 4 things to that
Exactly.
list. But I'm going to start with those 3.
And I have that right here. Again, Aaron, I'm talking to you, Aaron, so hopefully you're listening. But back to my list. This is from my energy book, How to Get More Energy. My New Habits. This is Jim Shorkey speaking to Jim Shorkey. This is my journal. Get you a journal. Start writing stuff down. It says, number 1, replace 1 cup of coffee with 1 cup of green tea. Did I do that?
Yep.
There's the evidence right there. Nuts and raisins. I haven't done that yet, but I will do that. Talked about it earlier. Clean up my closet, declutter. I have done nothing with that yet today, but I will go in there this afternoon after we're all done here, and I'll move a couple more things out of there. Listen instead of talking. It's hard to do that on a podcast, but it's a really neat thing. I need to listen to Amy and quit talking over her. I need to listen to Derek when we're having conversations, or I need to listen to Luke instead of just talking. So I'm working on that one. Straighten up instead of slushing forward. I'm working on that. Gratitude journaling. I didn't do that yet today. I will do that. And then my 10-minute thank you walk. I also didn't do that yet. But when you guys are eating, I'm going to go out there in the sunlight and do my 10-minute gratitude walk and just think about all the things I'm grateful for. And one of the things I'm grateful for, this journal. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the journal. I'm grateful for this microphone. I'm grateful for this camera. I'm grateful for the people that are watching us right now. I'm grateful. Grateful for Luke. I'm grateful for Derek. I'm grateful for my wife and my 2 nutty dogs that are downstairs right now. I'm grateful for those guys. I love my little buddies. I do.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot to be grateful. Grateful for this room. Grateful for my life, on and on. So I'm learning these new habits.
Yep.
And here I am, 68 years old. You would think, geez, Jim, haven't you done this before? Yeah, I have. But it's time to do something different.
And you've given such great advice, not only here, but in other places of, hey, if you're meeting, you've taken that first hour and you've studied. Okay, now you're in your first sales conversation. Jim's always said, 1, greet folks with a smile.
Exactly.
2, introduce yourself. 3, give out your business card. 4, learn their name. 5, write it down.
Exactly.
6, Listen, as you ask questions,
He's
hey, do you mind?
He's been listening. He's been listening.
Do you mind if I ask questions? That's 7, right? 8, listen again. 9, take notes. And so we're giving you step by step. If you just watch this video and take 15 minutes to watch this video, you're going to get those steps of, oh, I didn't think about that. And that sounds so granular and so practical. But in reality, those are the things that show people. The biggest feedback I get, and I haven't been doing this as long as you, I've been selling for probably 12 years now. My favorite feedback, we had a client the other day come to us and say, you know what I love about you, Derek? You know what I love about you, Brad? Is you guys listen to me. And that sounds so silly. You almost would rather them say, wow, you helped me go from 1 million to 4 million, or you helped me do this. We hear that kind of stuff too, but more importantly,
that's the secret.
I love when people say, I feel heard.
Don't forget though, first of all, this is not about selling cars. This is about selling. So we can sell cars, insurance, real estate. We can sell Bibles. We can sell clothing. We can sell whatever is involved with selling. That's what this is all about. Okay. And so please understand when we talk about listening, we listen with our ears, both ears. But more importantly, we listen with our eyes, because the vast majority of communication, or not majority, but there's a vast number of communication, which is called nonverbal communication. Voice tonality, body expression, posture, hand movement, gesticulating, etc. You can look it up. It's anywhere from, depending who you talk to, anywhere from 40%, which is obviously significant, upwards of 90% of communication is nonverbal. And so we listen with our ears and we listen with our eyes. But remember, this is not about selling cars. Of course it is. But if you're in the real estate business, what would happen if you focus more on the client's wants and needs and the client's reasons why for those wants and needs, and capture that in terms of notes, and then come back to it and say, you said earlier that safety was important to you. And by the way, when we were talking earlier, safety is really paramount with you.
And I broke it down in 3 different ways.
You really did, yeah. And so I've got a lot of work to do to show Derek how my car is really safe relative to what he wants. And as I do that, this is a customer-centric conversation. I'm talking to the client, the customer, about what's important to them. And I'm showing them how my product delivers on that. And as I do that, the value goes up. And the probability of me selling this person in our case, car today, is astronomically higher. The more I focus on that. So we focus on the customer first and what they really care about. And then we show them how we listened. And then you said earlier that this, and I show them, okay, here's how it does what you want it to do. And I got a check mark, and then another one, and then another one. And at the end of the whole thing, when I'm ready to present the price to the client, Derek in this case, say, Derek, when you came in, I asked you some questions, and you told me that these things were really important to you. And I'm going to go over the whole thing. Here's what you told me. Here's why. And I'm going to get him emotional again and say, no, Derek, have we covered everything you mentioned when you came in earlier? Now, in the meantime, has anything else come up in your mind? Because sometimes you think, oh, Jesus, one more thing I want to say. Anything else that you think in your mind right now, based on the car relationship we talked about, that's really important to you?
No, I think you hit them all.
Are you sure? Let's go get you a price.
Yep.
Do you want to do that?
Yes.
And this one here is, what do you think about this car? Scale 1 to 10, 10 being perfect, 1 being, I hate this car.
It's about a 9.
Okay, so we're close.
Yep.
Final question, I'm going to go get you some numbers. What can I do to make it a 10?
I wish it had a couple more features, but again, the price to value ratio.
Specifically what?
I don't know if I need the extra heated seats,
okay,
or the extra turn signal cameras, right? When I hit the turn signal, it shows me my blind spot. It'd be great, but I don't know if those features are needed.
You tell me. Now, we've got 1,000 cars. I told you that going in. If I had one with the heated seats, and I know the mirrors you're talking about, do you want me to pull that one down and have a look at it, or you want me to proceed with this one?
Let's just go with this one.
Okay. So no more doors. No more open doors. I've closed them all.
Yep.
And if you bring that up when we're in the closing booth, as we call it, Derek, I told you I can pull it. Let's go get the other one down then. I already know. No surprises. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I got to learn how to do that in that first hour.
Yeah. Man.
And it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
In the first hour.
No.
But at least I can start.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. I can start it. We can spend that first hour making all kinds of excuses why we can't. Come on, take the first inch. It's all about the inch.
Yeah, and you guys heard from Jim. You heard from me those 8 or 9 steps. You heard from Jim the power of listening and really understanding the customer. If you took what we just said and what he just said about listening well and asking good questions, and that was your starting place of you had 1 hour, I think that would really take you far. Are you going to be seasoned in an hour? No. Are you going to be seasoned in 6 months? No. A year? No. But as you do this
No, I
consistently,
think a year you would be seasoned. I disagree with that. I think a year, yeah, I'd say 6 months. I'd say a good 6 months. But let's close it with this idea. People don't care how much you know until, finish it.
they know how much you care.
Bingo. I got a massive chill right now. I know I'm on the right track. When my body tells me that with that chill, I know I'm on the right track.
Yeah, it's so true. You can just see it. Like I was telling you that example of the clients coming up and say, wow, you really heard us. We feel really heard.
Yep.
They don't have to say that.
No, of course they don't. They're
right?
telling you the truth.
And
That's a beautiful thing.
that's amazing. So guys, please comment, subscribe. Let us know if this advice for that 1 hour, if it's a Sunday evening and you're like, I am starting tomorrow, hitting the ground running. I have an hour to study and then I got to take notes of this hour. What are you doing? And that's what Jim and I are suggesting, that you do simple first now.
And I want to close it. Please, I beg you. We're big boys and girls here at Results from Thinking and Rethink You 2.0 and Rethink Sales. Tell us if you don't like what we're saying. Please, we want that feedback. If we don't know, we can't fix it. So tell us if you don't like it too. That's very valuable information. We want to be good. We want to be really good. And if we're not, we need to hear about it.
Yep.
Peace.